la prima fai... No, metti tu la prima.
Adesso metto la prima.
Sì.
Io volevo mettere i nostri nomi, ma adesso li mettono loro, i nomi. Io ho detto metti i nomi, adesso non li metteremo noi.
Ma infatti prima c'era di Alvarello, adesso qui c'è un'altra cosa. Ma ti arriva la prima slide? Eccola. No, sei andata indietro. Okay.
No, io non li ho messi perché mi aveva detto Silvia che le avrebbe loro. Torno indietro, no?
Basten? Ecco, eccoci. Allora, buongiorno a tutti. Noi siamo molto onorati di essere qui.
Good morning. We are really honored to be here for the Middle Vision Talk to talk about the wonderful world of colors. And Francesca Vallan is a friend of mine. She is one of the greatest experts as far as colors are concerned at an international level. My name is Angela Mroziski. I'm a creative director of Sublime Eyewear magazine. For those who do not know the magazine yet, it is a customer magazine, a consumer magazine of German magazine. So we have been present in Italy. However, our focus market is Germany and the DACH market. I met Francesca when I had an interview with her 2 years ago, and I was really struck back then. I met her at her office here in Milan. So try and imagine. I walked into a building in downtown Milan. I was surrounded by colors. There were colors everywhere. Acetate samples, colored plates hanging on the walls, colorful books. She has a library which is full of colors. Fans, colorful fans. So it's not hard to realize that Francesca's focus is color. She graduated as industrial designer, and she's specialized with the planning of color concepts and surfaces, from technology to furniture to household appliances, toys, and so on and so forth, including, and I'm saying so with the utmost admiration, she developed the color manual for the famous Lego company. We are all familiar with the Lego pieces. She offers consultancy services to companies in the projecting colors within the corporate identity concept. She does know the effect of colors, and she knows the importance of the sequence of colors, of the importance of colors. We have been talking about colors for hours, and for her it is easy to move from science to history, from color theory to colors in art and color trends in our industry. Francesca prepared a beautiful slide presentation. However, I would like to introduce you to Francesca with a question. Francesca, can you tell us about your job as a color designer? I will try and be brief, otherwise I will keep on talking till this evening. So, color planning is a very fun job, and I hope there's someone pursuing this career. That color cannot be projected, cannot be planned. And apart from trends, you have to plan in an objective way. You must know about the company you're working for. You must know about the colors that are important for that company. You have to analyze the company, the competitors, in order to compare your products with the competitors' products. And this is extremely important. It's like organizing a soccer game. You must know who the goalkeeper is and so on and so forth. And this holds true for all markets. the US market, for example, you must know what is at stake, who the competitors are, and then there are tools to be used. What I'm doing now, well, for companies, for multinational companies, I organize a sort of a kitchen. There must be all the ingredients in place in order to develop new identities, new corporate identities, which, however, must be consistent with the legacy of the company. I organize pigments, tests, and I'm in a kitchen. You know, you are a great cook of colors. So I plan the colors that are then applied. And sometimes I even apply the colors on the end product. However, for most companies, I develop plans. And she also curates exhibitions. Well, I visited the Munch exhibition some months ago, and she was my tour guide. Yes, I also organize some learning paths. Well, the new dimensions of color is the headline of your presentation. Why did you choose this title for your presentation? Well, I'm also a teacher, and I must apologize. Sometimes I speak like a teacher, but let me spend a couple of words on the theory of the color of color. Color has three physical dimensions. Well, I brought a sphere to show you what I mean by that. So color may be dark, light, the intensity, the saturation can change. When you dominate the three physical dimensions of color, you can develop color harmonies. And this is what the Bauhaus back in 1923 did. But we've gone beyond the three dimensions. The color language is being developed. Planning is carried out focusing on other dimensions too. In the 90s, for example, color chromatic harmonies became metachromatic harmonies. And now we've reached a different level. We are planning harmonies that are called metamateric harmonies, because you have to combine colors with immaterial dimensions like light, fragrances. And so we have reached additional dimensions. The emotional dimension of color is extremely important, and well, it's great that Angela is interviewing me, because we are moving from a rather technical aspect to an irrational dimension of color. And so the relationship with the emotional dimension of color has never been investigated. And then colors must last over time. So the goal is to make colors last like the products themselves. And then we have sustainability. We have also an ethical dimension concerning inclusivity. We work a lot on touch, for example. And well, I wouldn't say we tend to put vision aside, but we also try and combine vision with the touch, with what we hear, with music. With this approach, we involve all senses, and textures become extremely important. I would suggest that you go through your presentation, your beautiful presentation that you have prepared. This is the control. All right, so I got this idea. I decided to put you in my glasses, so to show you what I see. I will tell you about my presentation, and I will also tell you what I'm using to cook this storytelling. So a couple of slides, and then I will stop talking like a teacher. And this is very important, the relationship between color and the object. What is the relationship between color and objects? There are two big families. On the one hand, there are iconic colors, and this is the color of an object, and the syntactic colors, and these are colors that may change in an object. well, these are cartel products. Now it's yellow, but then may become green, fuchsia. We do not have any expectation. Colors continue to change. There is no tie between the color and the object. Color continue to change. Iconic colors instead are the colors belonging to a specific object. They provide the object with its specific identity. Let's forget about syntactic colors. They date back to the 80s. This was a very strong period, and these colors can no longer go back. It also has to do with consumerism. New colors will no longer be so independent from the objects. They are, again, there and in fashion, but with a different color and with a different concept. And we will also see how colors are renewed with new finishes. But instead of the syntactic colors, we will have abstract colors. And abstract colors are extremely fun. They are the disruption of the iconic colors. So on the one hand, we have icons. On the other hand, we have anti-icons. Havana is an iconic color, for example, and there we will have a red Havana. So it's still Havana, but becomes red. And it's not like red acetate, which is no longer there. So this relationship with colors, this new freedom, gives life to new colors which are abstract, free, and more surrealistic. Those who know me know what I'm talking about. Well, as a matter of fact, it's easy to predict colors. Well, for 30 years, I calculated the trends of colors, and it has to do with statistics. When you know, for example, that the green area had not been investigated, and if you observe the colors of car in the cinema, because I work for products all over the world, and I know, for example, if blue is missing or if there's too much blue, and when you realize that color existed because colors are mapped, and when you realize what area had not been investigated, well, this becomes interesting because you can develop that color. Well, in 2015, for example, there were no blue cars, and there hadn't been blue cars since the 80s, and so you can predict missing colors, and that's why I brought this sphere to Mito. Because statistically, you can calculate what colors will become in fashion. Well, let's take tennis, for example. And there's one thing I like of tennis, the balls. And this is what I used to do. Well, I used to look at where colors were missing, and I know that now pink is missing, not Giotto's pink, but another pink. So we know what colors are particularly widespread and what colors are missing. And so, what colors have not been used for a long time. So colors are predictable. However, these trends nowadays are no longer significant because colors are chosen, and colors tend to be selected and chosen and developed if they do not change. So research is being conducted on colors that do not change. Then, of course, there are cycles, there are colors that change more frequently than others, but for the time being, there are emotional colors. Light can change, or a fragrance, quality changes, odors develop. So we used to focus on matter, but now we live in a world where other aspects become important. And now let's come to this chart. Do you see the line of the iconic colors? These are the colors of the landscape, and these are colors that are somehow uncoupled from trends. looking for trends is not trendy at all any longer, because trends tend to shorten the life of a color. This is a fridge, for example. If I make it yellow, when yellow is no longer in fashion, this fridge, I'm no longer happy with that fridge. And so a color must last 30 years if the product lasts 30 years. And this aspect is very important. And here you see the range of red colors. You know, there's not only white. Each company has its own iconic colors. Well, you organized an exhibition on colors. Yes, so this is an exhibition on red. It was shown at the Ministry for the Made in Italy last year in Rome. And so the relationship with color also depends on culture. We in Italy, as design is very important, can give color a great symbolic value. We can make a typewriter, for example, red. In Germany, there's a completely different idea of color. They are much more functional. Design in Germany is much more functional. And so there's a completely different approach, and the same holds true for France. So each culture has its own approach to color, the Japanese as well. So we in Italy are lucky because we can work on the emotional dimension of color. This symbolic value is very strong in design, although the functional value the German functional value is important as well. And these are some of the objects that were shown at the exhibition. Of course, the red Ferrari, Brembo, Shanghai by Zanotta is a coat hanger. It was not red, it was made of wood, and then they made it in color too, because, wood with some defects, if colored, could hide the defects. But the Tizia lamp is very interesting. The Tizia lamp is very famous, but it's black. And so when you use an abstract color, you use an abstract language, and this means that shapes is unchanged, but you can change the abstract elements of that object, for example, color. And then, designers can also work on finishes. For Lego, I develop a lot of identity men's because, I recovered bits and pieces of their legacy and I mended them. You can work on finishes, you can adjust the color a little bit because iconic colors need to be maintained too. And then, and now let me tell you how I have been working in the past few months. So I watched a movie, The Room Next Door, which is a movie on color. So it's also about death, but death is told with colors that highlight, enhance the value of life. These are all Italian colors, and throughout the movie there are a lot of chromatic relationships. And this is the house that was used for shooting the movie. It is made of different materials, but it's not full of colors. When the house was changed, inspiration was drawn from many different sources. For example, from Edward Hopper, and that house changed through color. Here you see, for example, Hopper's lady drinking from a blue cup, the green sofa, the yellow, for example. And that yellow shade was used by Hopper for the light light, sun, symbolizing life is very important, and yellow becomes very important in the movie as well. And this is very interesting because the colors are and provide some symbols too. And then I went to Paris and I visited the Cartier Foundation. And there are some works by Olga de Amarel, which I had seen at the Biennale too, and they are very colorful. So these are specific schemes with proximity, dating back to the Bauhaus movement. Olga de Amaral is a Colombian artist. She's almost 90 years old now. And she was also very fond of weaving. But this is an exhibition with a lot of threads, and when you move, there are images that appear and then disappear. This is an incredible exhibition from an emotional viewpoint. There are many different rooms, but this one is really very interesting. It's a sort of rain of colors. And then in Paris, I went to Notre Dame.
You may expect a church, perhaps a white church, but please take a look at Notre Dame, so colorful. The chapels, the pillars, every color. Are you sure it's Notre Dame? Yes, it was. It has been revitalized. It's reborn also after the war. And the color marks change. And when you get into a restructured church with such bold colors, it's Notre Dame. It's surprising. Such colors were not added. It was a project of 1860. It has been restored. The impact is so strong. Do I have some time more? Yes. And then, Pompidou. I got there late. They just closed the exhibition on realism, but I saw Wang Xigang Galleria La Tuada Milan Surrealism to follow. It gave rise to action painting, assembly of materials. It gave life to so many interesting techniques for eyewear. And then, you see, freedom of color. I'm here to invite you. Use the color in a free way. We'll speak about it later. Okay. And then, chromatic upcycling now, also in furnishing, not just fashion. In furnishing, you don't have a style, minimal, baroque, it's a mix. Also in terms of sustainability, you have the Brema's armchair on cement. Now, you don't have a single trend. You mix and match things. It's visual storytelling, but also time-related storytelling. With color, you blend and mix, and it is highly appreciated by new generations. You know better than I do that all the youth go to street markets. My daughter wears her grandfather's sweater. It's a new type of aesthetics, and so. It's a reuse, it's a concept of reuse, even if everything is imperfect, and certain patterns that we would have never worn. It's a new type of aesthetics, and chromatic rules are no longer valid. It's an ethical harmony, you know you used it, and you're wearing something from your grandfather. It's a new type of approach. And then the movie, it helps so many movies, you know, that bring us back to the past. That's Bob Dylan's life and The Brutalist. Here it is, The Brutalist, that will be released in theaters. It's very important because all the sequences, in all the sequences, you just have matter. You had color in Almodovar. Here you have the presence of material. and I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to tell you anything. Here, the machine just behind them is more important, metal with studs or the architect. You see, here, matter stands out, oxidations. I appreciated what Alessandra said, imperfection. And here, you see, such details, oxidations. And then in the quarry, you have a scene in the quarry, it was also shot in Carrara. And it's very important as a material, and I thought perhaps Michelangelo went to that quarry, and as we are in Milan, if you have time, go and see the Pietà Rondanini in the front, but also in the back. It gives you so many emotions. It's just as if Michelangelo were together with you when you are just in the back of the statue. You see something smooth, and all of a sudden you see raw material, unfinished material, such strength. And perhaps Michelangelo is there and he wants to see if somebody gets emotional in 2025. And now I'm going to close. Okay. Something interesting. Very often we see things individually, but you already said it. Can you speak about connection between color, surface and texture? Because that's the game. You have elements just like luminosity, saturation. Can you tell us something about it, about this connection? That's the balance you should strive for. And also with shape. I do not want to set aside shape. I simply try and find balance between colors. There are certain colors that by themselves require matte, because perhaps they are desaturated, or perhaps because I combine them into something that is matte in nature. Natural materials, we expect them to be matte. Then you have saturated colors, just like red. It can be shiny. I can mute a color with saturation and finish, or enhance it. But texture is something different. It needs importance. Saturated color is shiny. And sometimes it might be too much. If there's a nice texture, you can tone down color. You should define your priority. I have a question for you. If I remember well, in the set of Pantone's colors, you have various kinds of them, but 1,400 hues of color. And is this range finished by itself, or can you do something more? No, it's the story to have endless colors. Yes, even more. And that's the starting point. If you should choose a color, you may start from pink, for example, but then it should become yours. Munch came to Italy. He fell in love with Giotto's pink. And the hue of pink is not present in Pantone. I'm sorry for Pantone, but they don't have it. And then Giotto created pink for complexion, and he even used eggs in the city for pale complexion, and country eggs which are more colorful for more shiny complexion. So, and that pink when you see it, it's full of energy. Pantone is okay, standard Pantone is okay, but you also have something else. Pantone is some sort of Bofrost. And going back to what you just explained, you have a new dimension of color, and especially the game with texture, surface, and in combination with colors, yes, saturation, it's not shocking pink, or as many pinks as it is possible. For example, if a company worked with mild colors, it's okay. And then I have a question for you. We have many eyewear designers in the room. Which type of suggestion would you give to eyewear designers? Everybody should be free. We know that the market demands vintage and so on and so forth, so we use new textures. If we want black, you may want something imperfect. If you want to obtain an icon, we change the finish. But icons should be broken in a way, and color experimentation. The only way to do new things is experimentation. Go for it. If you have fun in creating colors for eyewear, people will have fun as well. On the one hand, let's work on iconic colors, finishes, and on the other hand, instead, you can cook color. Then perhaps we can ask Laura how she works with color. Okay. I know that you work together. Here, in our interview, you said something that sheds light on the point. You say when they design shape, they should think about the color and not the opposite. If you create eyewear, you should already know if you want fuchsia or pink. So those that design colors should have eyewear should have color in mind. And also, color ranges no longer work. You cannot have 6 colors. And yes, upstream you should do this type of work and research. Am I clear? Am I quite clear? And some colors are soft, other colors are not. Some finishes are stiff, others are soft. If you don't start from color, it's not possible. In this year, the Pantone Institute in 2025 declared the color of the year. And the color of the year is mocha mousse. It's rich hue with special intensity, reminiscent of the pleasure of cocoa, coffee, and comfort. And so the first few eyewear collections in this color, we are quite advanced in the field of eyewear. What do you think about it? If you asked me last year, I would have given a different reply. And now it's focused on color, and it's a fun moment. I might say zinc yellow, and you look for zinc yellow. You should take it with a pinch of irony. For example, last year, peach pink, and if you went to Rinascente, everything was in peach pink. it's fun, but I went to the hairdresser and I asked, is it true that the new trend is red? Because in magazines you have red for hair, and she replied, the hairdresser replied, no, they want chocolate color. How come? And she showed me the color, and I said, also hair chocolate color and chocolate eyewear is okay, and I can also eat chocolate, and it's so nice. Let's take it with a pinch of irony. It depends where you apply the color. There's something that I don't like, the fact that it is applied everywhere. We can have chocolate, strawberries, chocolate, pistachio, and so it made me understand that eyewear was ready. We are updated. I believe that we need instead a more energetic color. For example, drink yellow, something to change. Chocolate is something comfy where you want to stay, but it doesn't invite to action. That's why I would have chosen another color. In a previous interview, I asked you something. We know so much about colors, and when you speak, we know even more about colors. What don't we know about colors? Yes, I travel the world. I'm a world traveler, and because I want to see what happens in the world of colors. And I map everything. I go to India, I mapped blue of Gandhi's home and reds of the Forbidden Town, Japan. In Japan, where I spent so much time when I was young. Well, are you ready? They have the license of colors. Imagine, and also, so. You have level 1, level 2, level 3. You have manuals of color license. The first few ones are in common. Then you get specialized for fashion, architecture, design, for example. And the license for architecture, I bought the manuals. They're in Japanese. And I look at pictures. And the manual, architecture manual, teaches you about the thickness of color, and it's the rule of transparency, and it teaches you how to calculate the final color. I've been teaching for 33 years, and at the beginning I was teaching such rules, but in 10 lessons now you cannot teach that much. And the Japanese are so precise, and technical details of colors give you incredible knowledge. And without offending anybody, however, I should say that the irrational element is not present in Japan, without offending anybody, because they're so precise. They study everything in detail. They also share food, a culture. Sharing food is so important. You choose a color that can be okay for everybody. It's sharing. But Michelangelo didn't share anything. He ate his own cheese on his own. It's a selfish approach. And I see that time is running out. We want to give you the possibility to ask questions at the end. However, very quickly, in the introduction, I had a quotation by Rudolf Steiner: "The world of colors cannot be dominated by reason. We should grasp everything through feelings. You agree on this quotation by Rudolf? Yes, of course, it's so relevant at the moment. We can design things with rationality, but buyers buy things in the emotional wake. We should consider this strength of color. It's incredible. And over the course of years, I didn't work on emotional aspects of color, but it's high time to do it. I know that you have a small gift. Yes, yes. I was at a conference, and the USA market is strong, is ready, and so I traveled the world, and what did I measure? You see? Red of the Golden Gate Bridge. With my instrument, I measured red of Golden Gate Bridge. There are no duties for color, not yet. It's important red, it's the start. Let's consider this American market. And the date, 33. 36. I was there. I measured it in various points, and it's my gift to you. As you've listened to me for so long, it's one of the colors. It's an invitation to go to the States with the colors cooked for them.
Ora, io posso solo aggiungere, se mai vi capitasse.
If you ever visit an exhibition curated by her, well, don't miss it. Do you have anything to add? We still have a couple of minutes. I would be more than happy to answer the audience's questions if there are any. Thank you very much for listening. Laura, do you have any questions? Questions from the audience? Well, you know, it's a risk because if I start speaking, I will never end.
Ispirazionale per i colori, cioè in assoluto.
What is the most inspirational element for colors? If you had to choose one, just one element, if I consider the starting point, I would start from Goethe. He made a circle on emotions and said, but look, anxiety is red and purple. And so I would start from there. And I'm making some very funny tests with my students. Well, I start from an odor, and they have to find the color, and surrealism is the third. And by the way, odors are very important. Here at Mido, there is even a machine, and in that machine they put deo to avoid the machine to stink. So there is also the element of odor and fragrance, which is important. And then you said we must start from there. And what about the sequence? So in what order would you put all the other elements? Well, you know, I read I saw yellow in the form of a coat, or I saw a yellow in the shape of a pair of glasses. Well, you know, textures have to be revisited, reviewed a little bit. Otherwise, what can my students do? There are bold colors. If a product must have a specific character, you know, you must choose the proper color to provide character. And, well, an anonymous product from a formal viewpoint can be characterized by a specific color. So I would try and offset, so a very iconic product with an abstract color, a very iconic product with an abstract color, and the other way around. I would do something like that. All right. Laura Rattaro. designer of the La Marca range. I know that you know each other. I have a question for you. How do you decide when you have to select a color and the interplay between color and shape? Well, first of all, thanks to Francesca, I've changed my approach to the colors to select for eyewear. And one of the elements that I learned from her is to think about a product with its own color. And, well, you know, in eyewear, there are commercial reasons for choosing a specific range of colors, but you can take this approach because, well, if a pair of glasses has to convey lightweight, lightness, you will select colors which, however, have a different dimension in eyewear. In eyewear, there are 3 dimensions: solid, bold, transparent, and milky. Opaline, if we consider acetate, these are the dimensions that we can resort to. And with acetate, we also have to do with light. So if that pair of glasses has to be light, and if we choose among the range of transparent materials, it may well be that we can achieve our goal in a much better way, apart from the color. And then we also have to consider that colors can be coupled. I was asked to develop multicolored glasses. Well, the brand is well known because they use color coupling. It's not an easy task, but with my experience, I've discovered that there is a dialogue which is established between and among colors. A color next to another one establishes a dialogue with it, and you can speak slowly or fast. If you pull colors together, and well, in a tone-in-tone approach, for example, 3 different pink shades, well, you have that feeling of calmness, and if you combine red with black or white, you have a much more vibrant, dynamic dialogue. Colors shout, and this is the general approach. And then, well, you need to use your own taste, your own sensitivity, and you put all the bits and pieces together. I hope I answered your question, but thank you very much to Francesca, because she really taught me a lot. Well, I used to be very spontaneous, but now I know why I made some decisions.
With a brand, very famous brand. And we did also some articles and talking often about colors. What do you think about the things Francesca told us today?
Yeah, thank you, Francesca. It's always interesting to have a bit of theory and to remind that, yeah, you have the base like opaque, transparent, opalescent, and we play with all this. And also, yeah, I would be interested to see photo of your office. It's in the article, so we will read the article. Yeah, and to visit your place.
But yeah, of course, all of you are invited to my studio if you stay in Milano. Just, I'm welcome. Okay. Welcome to to see my colors.
We will, and in eyewear, I think what is difficult in eyewear is that we can't manipulate acetate ourselves. We cannot do pigment ourselves, so we have to deal with the acetate providers. And it's an all.
This is a message also. This is a message also for acetate provider. Feel free to, but you can ask a personal color, because this is a flexibility of the. Ah no, scusa, vado in. No. Adesso c'è una.
now there is such a flexibility that allows you to order your own personal color. So, you know, even Porsche, for example, has 7 different colors. Because, you know, you may have yellow, but it's not your yellow. The color variations are lower, but you can customize your colors. If you have fuchsia coat, well, this is your own personal fuchsia, and the industry is able to do so, and this guarantees higher precision. You can ask for your own personal pink.
I went
Dear Anyara, hi, my friend. Have you some questions to Francesca? You are also working with the colors a lot, and I love especially the Morocco blue.
It was very interesting, also the theory. I like your presentation. Thank you very much. What I'm asking myself is, what's the reason why some colors are very popular and some colors not? What's the reason? What do you think it's... Oh, sorry. Do you think it's more because of marketing, or it's something natural? Why some colors works very well, sells very good, and some other colors not? And it's a...
Angela, ma me lo traduci tu? Faccio in italiano o in inglese?
Angela, should I speak in Italian or in English? There is translation. So the question was why... Okay, I will speak in Italian. So the question was why are some colors easy to sell, but we need to close. So just a couple of minutes. Okay, I will speak in Italian and she translates. Well, she doesn't realize that there is a simultaneous translation. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know the reason. But I can tell you my personal opinion about that. The color must come at the right moment in time. It must be the right color at the right moment. You may like a color, but at that particular moment, it's not your emotional color. And so, it's like, well, you know, when you cook a dish, you have to cook it at the right moment.
Depends from the right moment, the right color in the right moment. So, like,
in the right shape,
in
also
the,
la forma?
yes.
No?
Yeah, but I think your question was more commercial-wise, maybe, or you know, it's depending. I think for many aspects from the culture, from the moment we live, from the culture, from our emotional feelings. I mean, we know in which times we live. For in this moment especially, I think it's difficult to say, to have really an idea.
E va anche raccontato il colore.
And then color has to be told too, because colors have a story. And if you don't know the story behind a color, you cannot understand it. If you can take it the way it is, and if you don't know why it was developed, it may well not be properly understood. So there's a storytelling dimension which is very important.
Gracias.